How's it going, guys? My name is Plxton, and today we are doing something which we haven't done in a while. This is the Showcase series, which is done for inspiration, and if you're new to the channel, you're going to be wondering, well, what is this? And basically this is where we go through my old world of Lexington, and basically I show you things and hopefully it gives you a little bit of inspiration. So what we're doing today is the Leadenhall Building, or Leadenhall Building. I'm not actually quite sure how to pronounce it. But this is actually my favourite part of my world. We are building a new world at the minute, which we haven't actually done a lot on in recent weeks. But we will do as we get close to the summer. I'm a little bit busy right now. But this building right here is the Leadenhall Building. And this is my favourite building probably in the world and probably in the real world as well. And it's in London. It's designed by Richard Rogers. He's a really good architect, and basically I love it. I don't really want to go through the entire design thing really with you, but basically the slope here that you see, the angle of, I don't know, 60 or 70 degrees, is to allow for view of St. Paul's Cathedral in London, and that's why that's there. Because in a park in London, you have to be able to see St. Paul's Cathedral. I'm not quite sure why that law's in place. I think it's actually got something to do with the royal family, but yeah. So, like I say, this is actually my favourite part of this world, and we'll do this tower next video. But I wanted to get back into the inspiration series because, well, I hadn't done it in a while. The last thing we did was probably the airport, and we split that into quite a few videos, and hopefully I gave you quite a bit of inspiration on that. And if you are new to this channel and you haven't seen the inspiration stuff before, it is kind of based off of Corralis's type of thing, but what we do is we focus mainly on skyscrapers because that is what is in this world. So as you can see, first thing I want to point out here is we actually have elevators in this building. This is something we've been waiting for quite a while. A lot of my buildings in the previous sector, if I find a map, what we've done is if you look on the right side of the map, we've gone up the whole of that bottom area, and now we're on the little island on the top right. And the bridge you saw at the start of the video was the one in the top right corner. And season 2 is basically going to take us over to the left and down the left hand side, but we're going to ignore the left hand bottom corner because if I do a map release, then basically that will allow you to explore the entire map. But we should get into this video right now, and I'll explore the rest of this island next video with the other building. But this is the Leadenhall Building, and as you can see, it's split into different segments and stuff, and it is basically an exact replica of the building itself. Although I do feel it is a little bit thin. I did build this nearly a year ago now. It was last summer, and this entire island was basically redeveloped in the space of 2 to 3 weeks. And for once, not having any interior in the building is actually okay, because that is how the real building looks in real life. Because it's so new to London right now, there is no interior. Although the lobby, this is the lobby effectively, because we couldn't really do anything because this is how the building is in real life. You walk along a street here in real life, and the Lloyd's building would be just behind me where the globe is there, and in front of me you'd have the Leadenhall Building here. And what you'd have is 2 escalators that go up to the stairwells and stuff, but I want to change that for my version of the building. So I put in a little park on the bottom of the building, and we've got little security gates and stuff, so you'd scan your pass here, and if you want you can just come back here and watch something on the screens, and you can look up there, which is actually huge. And it's the same way all up the building. We have this back here like the actual building does itself. The building is a skeleton building, and what that means is it's based off of framework. So steel framework makes up the building. You see these big grey lines. These are steel beams on the actual building, and they basically just work the building itself, because in London there is no space for redevelopment. So that's how the building had to be built. And as you can see, we've got these pillars, and if you want some ceiling design, there was some good ceiling design on the airport, I think, but this could be useful here, I think. I did try and do a bit. I wanted originally to have it sloping, I think, but I couldn't get it to work. So that's what we ended up with. And here I wanted something else, but it wasn't working, so I kind of made it look like they're kind of fans, but at the same time they're not fans. So yeah, that's how that worked. So if we go up the stairs, we've got some really tight staircases here, because it had to work with the framework of the building. And as you can see, we have one block there and 2 blocks on this side, which is kind of disappointing. I wanted it to be a little bit better, but I worked with the room that we had. And as you can see, the floors, they're massive, but as we go further up the building, they get a lot smaller. And obviously the lifts, or elevators if you're American, whatever you want to call them, they're exactly the same all the way up. Now, I will try and find us a good place to escape so that we can look at the back of the building. I think this would be a good place to escape right here. As you can see, this entire back is basically just framework, and we have 2 sets of stairs on the back like this, and then this center part goes all the way up, and that's just kind of like a viewing deck for the building, where we can look at that building over there, which is Arc Tower. If you watch the Moonshine Tower video, I did actually mention on that video, I think I said already, that this is my favorite building on the world, and that building there is the ICC from Hong Kong. Now, I think that stands for International Commerce Center. That's a really nice building, but we'll get to those eventually. And this is my elevator design. I think this could be useful for some of you. Obviously you can see it's a bit cramped, but you got to work with the room. But basically what we have here is a touch screen elevator system, and you pick your floor and it'll take you straight to it. And then we have our lights and things, so that'll go straight up and down. But obviously working with limited room, it's very difficult. I mean, the actual building itself has 2 sets of stairs on each side, I think. Actually, I'm not sure. Yeah, I think it does. Either that or it's 2 sets of elevators on left and right hand side, and then there might be 2 sets of stairs in the middle, and then more elevators in the middle again. So if you imagine that with this system, that's how the actual building, I think, looks. And each area for the building in real life would have 4 elevators crushed into one single column. But on Minecraft, obviously, 1 block being 1 meter, we're a bit stuck for space. So this area cuts off in real life. So if we come up to this floor, oh god, I broke the building a bit there. Doesn't matter, we won't save. What we have here is, well, basically this is the top floor. You come up here, and this is service floors. Well, this one here isn't, but the next one is, if I find a way to get up there. Yeah, there we go. If the video does look a bit shaky, by the way, my controller, I don't think it works right now. I haven't played on my Xbox in a while, but I don't think my right thumbstick is working that well, which actually doesn't really bother me because I don't play on the Xbox too much anymore. I play on the PlayStation 4 when I have time. And if you're wondering why there's been barely any videos recently, I have exams coming up. I'm sorry, I have to prioritize them over this. I'm sure you can understand. But here we have just some systems and stuff, and you're noticing right now in the other videos we haven't had any pictures or anything, and that's because over there where the airport is and all the other buildings, the airport dominates the pictures for that tile, so there isn't any spare pictures to do anything with because they all sit in the airport. And I don't mind that because the airport, I'm proud of it, I'm happy with how that worked out. But as you can see, the building gets a little bit tighter to the top, so we're working with all of this area just to try and squeeze in as much computer systems and stuff like that. I don't know what all this would be, probably stuff like servers and everything, right? I'd imagine that's what's at the top of buildings, and on service floors, that's where they put the monitors, all the air conditioning stuff. So like, we'd play around with all this, and basically these floors are all the same, and this should be the top floor. Yeah, and these are just the same. Once again, we have more servers and stuff. I don't want to bore you with it being all the same, really, but basically this is the design of the Leadenhall Building on Minecraft. I haven't actually seen anybody else do the Leadenhall Building before, so I'm hoping you guys like this build. Like I say, it is my favourite building on the world. I wouldn't say it's the best build I've done, but to me, I really like it. My best build would probably be among Moonshine Tower. Well, that's really the only building that you've seen that is really good, in my opinion. I mean, there is another one or two to come, which I really do love. But when we do start the city building series, probably in the summer, already you've seen the arena that's being built, or the stadium. That's part of the city building series itself. But in the future, we will be making better things, obviously. But this island, like I say, I do love this island. Next video, we'll look at that building there. But now, if you're, like I say, if you're new to the channel and you haven't seen any of this before, what you're going to see now are some clips of just the building. So in future, if you don't want to watch me just walking around the building, showing it off a little bit, what you can do is skip to the end of the video. Like, well, maybe you might have already done that. You might be just skipping through the video. You might, yeah. So if you want to do that in the future, you can just watch cinematic views of it, and that's what we're going to do now. But thank you guys very much for watching. I'm glad to be back to doing the inspiration series. This is basically season 2, like I say, but it's kind of the second part of the world. And what we're going to see in this one is more buildings, maybe a few bridges, like the one just below me, maybe a park or two, and some other major projects that will come on later on. But once again, thank you guys very much for watching. Please rate and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.